just quick. It shouldn't pick up anything. I'll mute it. Yeah, let's go. Right, that's us ready.
That's a pretty great test.
So, this is the W Factor again.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Be a lot shorter than last time's, probably because we're not really doing a full length in-depth review. We're just generally going over just things that we saw recently and things that we wanted to talk about. But yeah, let's just go into it.
Hopefully it'll be a bit more of an upbeat podcast as well, because Extreme Rules, the horror show, was definitely... I do apologise to whoever we had listening, but that must have been a hard listen for you guys, because it was a hard watch for us.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people like just watching and listening to other people being complaining and all that.
Being depressed watching wrestling.
That's what I like doing. I just like that sort of stuff. But yeah. Would you like to start us off, William? Because you've got the notes and all that.
I've got the notes here in front of me. So we'll start off. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the whole week of wrestling. So you've got your Monday Night Raw, you've got AEW, Dark and Dynamite. I've only covered Dynamite this week. Dark just seemed quite busy. There was a lot of matches going on, but again, there was no real news to take from it. So if there's ever any news or anything, I'll definitely go into detail. But we'll go through all the different brands, all the different shows, and we'll start off with last week's Raw, just following the horror show that was Extreme Rules. So we open with Bayley and Banks coming out gloating about their shambles of a victory over Nikki Cross and Asuka. So now they both have the tag belts and the belts for the separate brands. According to the backstage rumours, Vince McMahon changed the outcome of the Asuka-Sasha Banks match last minute. Not sure why. I'm not sure if it was to do with ratings or whatever, but Vince is Vince. You know, there's sometimes there's a method to his madness, sometimes there's not. He is just a crazy old senile man, but it's Vince. You've got to love him. So during Bayley and Banks gloating about their victory, and Bayley weirdly trying to explain it and going into detail about how because she put on a t-shirt it makes her an official. No, there's training involved. You have to be employed as a referee. But Stephanie McMahon appears on the Titantron in what I described as a Zordon fashion from Power Rangers, and goes on to completely nullify the Extreme Rules match by saying that what Bayley done doesn't make the decision legal, doesn't make the victory legal, and the belt is on the line again between Asuka and Sasha in basically an Extreme Rules match. Like, if you lose the match in any fashion, you lose the title, and it nullifies their match at Extreme Rules, which wasn't great to begin with, but give it some meaning.
Like what I was saying, like the last podcast, it's like everything's so far ahead.
Yeah.
Like this seems like an outcome that should have happened onto Extreme Rules. Like they should have had the match when it was then. And yeah, sorry, I forgot about this.
Here we go. So we've got some images to go through as well.
Yeah. So it feels like we are seeing SmackDown and Raw and all that on a pay-per-view, and that just makes no sense. And then oddly enough, like the SmackDown and Raw recently were better than the pay-per-view that we just watched.
Definitely.
It's like they're trying way too hard.
Yeah, they're I don't know. I feel like they keep making decisions and then trying to go back on them or trying to fix them when it's too late. Just make your mistakes, stand by them, and then make your future shows and your future matches better.
Yeah.
Don't nullify them, which is what they've done here. So, going into a little bit less detail about last week's. So we did actually have Aleister Black interrupting Seth Rollins, who was talking about the eye for an eye match. Basically, he's not his character hasn't changed at all. He's still trying to go after this Messiah role. I don't know what he's trying to save the show from. He keeps talking about how he's the saviour of the show. I don't know what that means. I still don't get it. He's not explained it.
It's like they've got the concept, but they don't have
they've got
everything else about it.
They've got the name and nothing else.
Yeah.
So that he's the Messiah of Monday Night Raw.
The name, the character, no motive,
exactly.
no reasoning, just
so,
weird.
Seth Rollins comes out and he invites... No, sorry, he doesn't. That's the following week. So we have Aleister Black come out and interrupt Seth Rollins. Now, I do like Aleister Black. I've got nothing against the guy. He's a good performer. He did go through this weird sort of like few month period where he would always end up covered in blood, whether it was busting his nose or whatever.
Yeah, did he bust his nose that match as well?
No. What happened this match is Buddy Murphy put his eye into the corner of the steel step, much like Seth Rollins. So that is now Aleister Black injured, kayfabe obviously for, I believe they're going for like a 6-week period so that they can reevaluate his character or something like that. But yeah, that's what he's doing. But so he never actually suffered any colourful injuries like the blood, but I'm thinking this weird moment he had during maybe the past few months, going back maybe the beginning of last year or something. I think that must go back to like his independent scenes, because his character in the Independence was a Satanist.
Yeah. You can't really do that in WWE, can you?
Yeah, no. Like his name was Tommy End, and he tag teamed with a guy called Mikey Whiplash, who used to wear leather and fishnets and used to like purposely cut himself and drink the blood.
Yeah.
It was weird.
So you can't really do that in WWE. And
yeah.
If you're gonna get a character or like a wrestler who is going into WWE doing all this weird Satanist stuff, it's gonna hard for him to adapt to it.
Yeah.
But most importantly, you need to know what to do with his character. And bringing him on, and like, I like him when he wrestles, and I like his character, but nothing happens. No. I've never seen him feud or anything like that. Not
just now. He had a pretty good WrestleMania moment last year. But I say he had a pretty good WrestleMania moment. The best thing about it was his entrance. The match itself had too many people in it. There was Ricochet. Pretty sure Baron Corbin was in there as well. It was a wee bit all over the place. But
it feels like the same with Ricochet as well. Like they bring him on and they just don't do anything with him.
Well, yeah, because we've seen really good Ricochet stuff from Japan.
He can. If anyone can do a good match, it would be Ricochet.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with what they're doing with him.
I think they try and get as many people who are popular at one time, just so that they have them. No one else can get them. Yeah. And they just bury them, or they do nothing with them. So Shelton Benjamin is now the 24/7 champion.
First match he's won in 14 years.
Exactly, 14 years, Jesus.
So I don't know. I don't really know much about Shelton, but I was watching the Royal Rumble 2020 recently, and it was the Beast and Shelton Benjamin, and you have probably the most successful wrestler of all time who's held these championships for so long, and then Shelton Benjamin, and then they're hugging out, and you're like, they do not seem like the type of people to be friends.
They don't. It's like their success story is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
But Shelton Benjamin is the godfather to Brock Lesnar's daughter.
Yeah.
I believe. I think one of his kids. I don't know how many kids Brock Lesnar's got, but it
feels like they've let go so many wrestlers that with talent, and they are not releasing Shelton. So I feel like Shelton's a backstage presence. You know what I mean? Like he's more of like a coach kind of guy. Or he sets up the matches. He directs. I don't know, but having a person for 14 years not winning a match and still having them around, you don't really know what's up with him.
No.
And because of this 24/7 championship, he's now with MVP, who's got the horrible US title, and Bobby Lashley. So they're making like a faction sort of thing. They don't really have a name, but like they're working together, and we know that.
I don't think they've got a name. I feel like, now that they've got 3 people, they would have sorted a name, but I don't think they've got anything just now. No. And if they do, it's so nonsensical that my brain hasn't retained that information.
I know what's going on is that it's Apollo and R-Truth that are feuding with them. Yeah. It seems like if with R-Truth in the mix, it has potential. Right.
Like he just wants that green belt. He just wants that green.
He does. He probably does the green as well.
He has to. There's got to be something to the league. There's got to be some sort of explanation to R-Truth's existence and his mindset. But there's a reason he's our social media
mascot.
Banner. Yeah, he's our flag.
Just I don't know. It just feels weird making a title that looks awful and then having a wrestler that nobody knows.
Yeah. So that was last week's Raw. We were advised that Kairi Sane would be leaving the company after that week's Raw, but she appeared again on this week's Raw. If I don't know what the problem was or if that was just explaining them. So that's for just in a moment. That's it. So we have Randy Orton come out. And he opens the show by talking about how he's ended Big Show's career and he's now going to go for a feud with Drew McIntyre. So, I mean, obviously that's taken from when there was still crowds in the audience. But that was good. And then here we go. If Big Show's career is truly ended, does that mean we get a season 2 of his Netflix original or collaboration with WWE, The Big Show Show? Let's hope not.
Yeah.
You were asking me how popular it was, and I don't think it's that popular. And Ric Flair buried it by calling it a Netflix cartoon.
I do go through Netflix a bit, and I see. I saw The Big Show at least once in top 10.
Yeah.
But I doubt that was because of audiences watching it and audiences being curious, it's The Big Show and.
I think the movie they done Main Event with the little boy that finds a lucha mask that gives him superpowers.
It's got the Miz and all that.
Yeah, that was in the top 10 as well.
But that's wrestling fans, and those are a big fan base and all that.
So we have Randy Orton opening the show, which was really good. Then we have Nia Jax, who comes out after. I mean, who the fuck is she here to injure now? So Nia Jax comes out, does a little bit of talk.
Didn't she get fined?
She was fined.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. She was fined because Shayna Baszler came out. So basically, Nia Jax wants the title for Raw, the Raw Women's title. That's Sasha Banks that's holding it. So Nia Jax comes out, blah blah blah. I want the belt. Shayna Baszler comes out, absolute nonsense. All because she lost to Becky at WrestleMania. She just appears out of nowhere again. So she challenges for the belt, or she challenges Nia for the number 1 contender spot for the belt, but they end up having a scrap that leads to outside the ring, that then leads to security getting involved. And there's a really sort of short, skinny guy with red hair, white shirt and a blue tie. And Nia Jax, beats him up for no reason. He's there to mediate. He comes in and he's everyone calm down. And then Nia Jax beats him up, pulls his shirt over his head so that he can't see, spins him about, beats him up again, and then throws him out the ring. And that is why she was fined. I mean, obviously she wasn't really fined. That's just what the storyline they're going for. But
see after Nia, whatever, doing all these injuries and all that, you'd really expect WWE trying to make an approach of her to make her more likeable.
Yeah.
And with what's happening, it just doesn't seem that way.
No. So they resolve that situation. Then we have the Street Profits, who are the Raw Tag Team Champions, who didn't have a match at Extreme Rules for some reason. So they came out. Basically, what they had done for this week's Raw is they'd organised a big tag team tournament sort of thing where you would have multiple tag teams in the ring all facing each other, and then the winners would get the opportunity at SummerSlam to challenge for the belt, which is pretty, I mean, I don't mind that. There's enough tag teams there to form a sort of mini tournament. Okay, we discussed at Extreme Rules that their tag team situation is quite poor just now, especially when you compare it to AEW's tag team division,
which is really good.
Really good.
They have Kenny Omega and Hangman. Is it Hangman?
Hangman Adam Page.
Hangman Adam Page, and like those aren't really people you'd expect to see together. Like they're just kind of two wrestlers put together, but they're still giving out performances that are enjoyable and really fun and interesting to watch.
Definitely.
But the thing is that like Vince McMahon doesn't care about tag teams.
He never really has.
Yeah, though, like it's always been about singles competition and all that, and like that's amazing and all, but we want to see the potential of tag teams and all that. Like I don't know, and factions maybe, I don't know, because you see like D-Generation X and you had like Shawn Michaels, Triple H and all that, and that was like when they would tag team, that was great. Who else are like really big tag teams, like Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy?
Yeah, the Hardy Boys.
They were like at the bar when Vince put the effort to get these tag teams like a good chemistry, good matches. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah,
but he just doesn't want to do that anymore. Like, I don't know, it's just really poor watching his matches. It's all about singles to Vince. You're never going to see a tag team main event.
I think you've got a good point though. We need a new faction.
Do we need a new faction?
There's not a lot of factions in. There's not a lot of factions in wrestling just now. There's the Dark Order, which are an amazing faction. They're doing it so well just now. Like offering people like live on TV, they're offering people contracts whenever they lose a match, because they're thinking, you know, this person's at the very lowest point in their career with AEW. Why don't we hoover them out? They're forming a cult. Oh, it's amazing. I'm really enjoying the Dark Order, but WWE tag teams, I'm not feeling chemistry. I mean, I can feel friendship. The Street Profits are friends. The Viking Raider War Experience, they're friends. Cesaro and Nakamura are friends but backstage and stuff.
Storyline
wise,
and in matches, it's like when we watched the Extreme Rules, it was like they were doing their own thing. It was just so weird, but
only one camera can be on one situation at a time. You know, don't end up doing your own thing, because there's a very high chance you're not going to end up on TV. So going back to Raw then.
Congosaurus, I think. Thank you for the follow, man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Just I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Chat's live as well if Congosaurus has got anything he wants to add at any point. So back to the Street Profits, they come in the ring, they introduce obviously the idea of this tag team tournament. Then it cuts away to what WWE claimed to be a milestone, which was the Bella Sisters have just reached 3 million subscribers on YouTube. I don't know why they felt that necessary to put that right before this could be exciting tag team tournament situation. It was, I don't know, just leave it till the end of the show or don't put it in at all. Just put it on social media, but they put it live on TV. I thought it was weird.
I think it's just more promotion and something like that.
To the Bella Sisters.
I guess. I don't know.
So, Street Profits invite out the War Viking Raiders Experience guys.
Who's like changed names like
so many times. The War Raiders, the Viking Raiders, the Viking Experience. They're the Viking Raiders just now. They've settled on that just now.
That's an okay name.
Yeah, that'll do. So we've got them in the ring just now. We have Ricochet and Cedric Alexander come out, who look good. But I've not seen much chemistry between them when they're performing. Again, it just seems as if
They're getting random wrestlers and shipping them together.
Yeah. So then we have Angel Garza and Andrade Cien Almas, who has had the typical Vince McMahon sort of removal of his surname. He just comes out to Andrade just now.
Yeah.
I think Samoa Joe did call him by his full name on commentary, and that was the only time. I think that's the only time he's been called that in a long time as his full name. So they came out. Street Profits jumped on commentary. The match then commenced between these teams. The Street Profits were quite funny on commentary, quite good to listen to. I'll give them that much. Corey Graves tried to do his job as a commentator and cover the match and the spots in the match and stuff. While the Street Profits were basically confabbing with everyone else on commentary. So it was good because you could hear in Corey Graves' voice he was trying to speak louder so that people would hear him at home and stuff like that. So it was quite good.
Anyone's better than Corey.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think that was a good move.
That's very true.
A good entertaining.
Bring back JBL with his subtle racism on commentary.
Well, they're gonna be really careful about anything like that nowadays.
Well, that's why Jerry Lawler's not on commentary anymore ever. Need to wait for PC to die down before he's going to get a talking job on TV.
Yeah.
So Andrade and Angel Garza win. They now face the Street Profits at SummerSlam for the Raw Tag Team belts. Seth Rollins, the Messiah of Monday Night, comes out after this is all settled down. Him and Buddy Murphy are quite good together. They held the Raw Tag Team belts for a little while as well. So basically they came out. Buddy Murphy is like a cult follower, doesn't really say much anymore. Yeah. Seth comes out and invites down Dominic to the ring, who is now being referred to as Dominic Mysterio rather than just Dominic or Ray's son. So you've got the worst actor in the world making his way down to the ring. In his walk down, somebody screams from the crowd, "Go home, Dominic."
Was that like?
But in like fear, like she was worried for him.
Okay.
So I was like, "Go home, Dominic." Calm down, hen. Calm down, hen. Don't worry about it. He's fine. Dominic goes in. Seth puts his arms up for a hug because he still wants Dominic to join this cult. I don't know if he's just not getting it through his head that Dominic, who watched his dad suffer a severe eye injury, is going to join this man's cult. Twice.
Two severe eye.
Two eye injuries, and then last week he injured Aleister Black as well. Dominic gets a bit of a beatdown.
I don't know why Dominic went out and give himself a beatdown, because it was, I don't know, Captain Hindsight.
Yeah. So he came out, got a beatdown because he refused a cuddle. Aleister Black. Oh, I've made a complete mistake. Aleister Black's injury was this week on Raw, not last week on Raw. Right, okay. So Aleister Black rushes out.
Just Raw.
Just Raw in general.
Yeah, just in Raw he got.
Yeah, suffered an eye injury, and that could be him off TV for a wee while, but that's apparently rumoured to be what they're planning on doing just now. I don't know if they're going to change his story or if they're just removing him from this feud just now. Dominic busts out a kendo stick and he starts hitting Seth and Buddy Murphy fucking hard.
Yeah, Seth Rollins put on his social media the
big right across his back,
the big red marks, and I'm like, that's good to watch. Yeah, but was it planned?
Was it planned, or
did Dominic
have anger issues?
Yeah, or is Dominic just, not mentally there? And
Dominic snaps, and this kendo stick is used in such good fashion. Seth Rollins takes it across the back. Buddy Murphy takes it to the stomach and again at the chest. I think he gets hit twice actually because he's not fast enough. Then he smashes the kendo stick off of the announce table and it starts to fracture, and then he hits it off of the steel steps and it basically explodes into shards. Dominic looked pissed. Whether he's just really trying to impress somebody. I don't know if he's got a guaranteed job. He's not contracted. He's literally brought on as Rey Mysterio's son, but they've given him some physical things to do. But I don't know if that means that...
As the son of Rey, he would have learnt some wrestling, so then they could have, like, they would have been able to use him. But like, does Dominic have a job outside of WWE?
No idea.
Yeah, see, it's just, I don't know, it's very unclear.
Imagine like the Tuesday after Monday Night Raw, he goes back to work and people are just avoiding him in the office because they watched him beat two people with a kendo stick.
Like, he probably just done this stuff because of COVID.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he could have got laid off or like laid off at the time for safety, and he just got some time to do stuff with his dad.
Yeah. Why not?
Bring
your son to work day.
If it is actually Dominic, because we don't actually know. Like, how... Like, it could be an actor.
It's the same kid that was in the ladder match between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero to find out who was Dominic's real dad. It's the same kid. It's the same kid.
Can I remind him? No, I think it's him.
But yeah, so that happens. Dominic's a wee bit mental. But then again, so is Seth. So there you go. That storyline works.
One thing I'd like to add is that you only ever really see Rey's son as like a family member of a wrestler being involved in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Like, the first time it was a lot weirder than now because we were talking about a kid. Which is...
Yeah, the only other son or the only other child of a wrestler that I can think of who has no wrestling in-ring experience, who's been involved in storylines, is when Matt Hardy brought his 1-year-old into TNA and into the indie scene and actually pinned another wrestler. I'm sure that done wonders for that guy's career.
Probably, yeah.
Pinned by a baby. So we move on then to Mustafa Ali, who's backstage, getting all hyped up for his match against Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley. Mustafa Ali versus Bobby Lashley. So he's backstage preparing for this match mentally, you know, hyped up, doing his stretches and all that. And our Messiah, our W Factor Messiah, R-Truth, then enters the scene, and he starts speaking with Mustafa Ali, but he calls him Mufasa, which is Simba's dad from The Lion King. he says Mufasa like 4 times, and Mustafa Ali keeps looking at him, but he never corrects him. So do you know what?
It's good comedy as well. Yeah. Like you can. I'm pretty sure R-Truth like improvises this stuff.
He must.
I know he's definitely the highlights from most people when watching.
He is, in my opinion, the saviour of the show, not Seth Rollins. I know that's what he's going for. But if it wasn't for R-Truth and Drew McIntyre, and maybe a little bit of Randy Orton, it would have no appeal to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
So we've actually got Congosaurus in the live chat just now saying that King Maxwell is champ, and you know what? He is a champ. I quite like that idea. I think Matt Hardy tried it again because he had another child later on in life. I think he tried it. They've all got funky names, to say the least, considering the dad is just called Matthew.
Yeah.
They've all got sort of interesting names.
Well, they're pretty interesting people.
That's
in
true.
Real life.
The Hardy family, pretty interesting. So Mustafa Ali versus Bobby Lashley for the... Oh no, it's not for a belt because Bobby Lashley doesn't hold anything.
No, it's just a match.
It's just a match.
Yeah, just a good singles match.
Not a bad singles match. I'll give them that much.
Yeah.
But what I will say though is while they're having this match, Akira Tozawa comes out dressed up as a ninja, which he's been doing for a wee while.
Yeah.
Comes out and starts beating up Shelton Benjamin outside the ring, and the camera moves from the match that's happening to focus on these two.
Yeah, so it just feels weird that
it's like,
maybe we could have had like a split screen thing or something. But
like I really hope the referee had a little earphone in and he whispered to Mustafa Ali and Bobby Lashley to not do anything interesting for the next 5 minutes because they're going to focus on the 24/7 title while you guys are having your intense in-ring match.
Which is weird having something like that happen that's
Yeah.
unrelated.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because like that would usually be a segment between like a recorded segment
Yeah.
between matches,
Exactly.
and then they just done it live or like they recorded over
In
us.
the middle of a fight, I know.
Yeah, and Mustafa, I don't know, could have had some time to shine and all that because he's not
yeah.
uppercut. But whatever, more R-Truth, that's okay.
Yeah, more R-Truth actually missed as well. MVP got in the ring with a couple of couches with Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, and he called it the VIP room or something like that, and it's like his talk show. But it didn't really last long because Mustafa Ali came out to be interviewed on the talk show. They were really just hyping up the match between him and Bobby Lashley later on. Then it sort of fell into chaos because R-Truth rushed the ring, speared Shelton Benjamin, and then ran away again. That was it. Like it was a
message, you know.
Yeah, that's it. He's just making sure that Shelton Benjamin doesn't get too comfy. Yeah, so Mustafa Ali loses. Bobby Lashley, MVP, Shelton Benjamin all in the ring. MVP holds up his terrible looking belt, and Shelton Benjamin holds up his terrible looking belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't highlight those belts, please.
Well,
just hold them low down, hold your fist up or something like that. Like, yes, you're the champion, yes, you're the winner, but belt looks like piss.
Well, that's not... WWE doesn't know that. They're like, these are going to do good because why would you release it?
They should do it. They should know that though. Like MVP should know
yeah,
that his belt looks silly, and Shelton Benjamin should know that belt only looks good on R-Truth.
But I saw a post talking about MVP, and apparently he said he didn't want another faction going on between him and Shelton and all that. And I don't know, would you like to see them be a faction, Shelton, MVP and Bobby, against maybe R-Truth, Mustafa and all that?
I would have no issue with them forming a faction, but they would need an opposing faction, and I don't think R-Truth...
Well, R-Truth could be the messiah of his own faction.
It could be.
Which I would love.
Bring back little Jimmy, his imaginary friend.
Yeah. His imaginary friends.
Yes, that's it. He could form a faction with absolutely nobody.
A faction of many, but you can only see few.
A faction of many. R-Truth. So I wouldn't mind it if there was a heel faction and a face faction, but as it stands, MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, I'm not interested in where they're going just now.
Something to note is that this is a all black kind of thing going on, all black person.
Yeah.
And if they're going to have a faction with all black people, maybe an all black people opposing faction with R-Truth, Apollo and Mustafa could work as well. Personally, I don't care about race and all that. Like, that's something I don't care about, but a lot of people on Twitter, I know that do. So what would be good is for them, for PC, for WWE looking good, is a good all black storyline maybe? I don't know. It's something I don't care about, but looks like something that they're leaning into.
I think bring back the Nation of Domination, which was the all black Attitude Era faction. But the thing is, when they started out, it wasn't about race until they started getting sort of like the abuse that they were getting and the promos they were getting were sort of race based. That was where DX came out with blackface on, and Owen Hart joined the Nation of Domination, and whenever he would come out, they would also always mention on commentary that, like, Owen Hart sort of stands out and amongst the Nation of Domination. Like, it was weird, but they could say different things back then. Anyway, so a faction in WWE, I wouldn't mind it. Maybe just better people. We've got another comment from Congosaurus. Were rumours that it was going to be a new Nation of Domination but faces this time. Well, I don't know what I think about that. I did like the Nation of Domination, but it's, I think,
like calling a face faction of the Nation of Domination,
it's not. Yeah,
it won't work, because then you just take away from the first faction. It's like getting a new Nexus.
If the rumours that Congosaurus are referring to MVP, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, they're not faces. No. I don't see them ever being faces. They are downright dicks, and I think that's what they should just stick with just now. If there is another faction coming, I really hope they don't. I really hope they're not trying to make another faction like another race one. Just it's a touchy subject. I don't, because nobody wants to say the wrong thing, but nobody knows what the wrong thing can be.
Well, what I'm saying is that race doesn't matter.
No,
and making factions about races is not necessary.
No, nowadays.
If by chance a faction is all one race, then okay, doesn't matter. I'm not going to point it out and say it's wrong. I'm going to say that it just feels too coincidental.
Yeah.
However, what we want right now, because me and William have been watching this and we've been really disappointed, we just want better story times, better storylines. Better
storylines, and I'm not saying that they're not putting in effort in their matches, but some people aren't as good as they used to be a couple of years ago.
I'm very critical, and I'm just saying it looks really bland, these matches that we're getting.
Everything's quite... everything's quite ready salted.
Anyway, let's
so we're going to move on. The Raw Women's title match between Asuka and Sasha Banks. This is the finalisation of who is the champion. Kairi Sane's still in the company. Okay, rumours were a wee bit off with her timing, but there you go. So she's still in the company. Bayley and Kairi Sane have a bit of a face-off. Start talking smack. Bit of a fight outside the ring. And then Kairi Sane chases Bayley backstage. So everybody's like, right, okay, start the match. They're gone. Asuka, Sasha Banks put on a pretty decent performance. Everybody wanted Asuka to win. Nobody really... And whether this makes them really good heels or really bad performers, nobody wants Sasha Banks and Bayley to be the champions. For some reason, the women's belt just now, for both brands, just seems to work on a face.
Yeah.
And we discussed this at Extreme Rules. We don't like Bayley. We just don't. Face or heel, we just don't like Bayley. But that's beside the point. She is over, and there's no denying that fact. So Asuka and Sasha Banks have their match. Because it is, if you're disqualified, you lose the title. If you're counted out, you lose the title. Submitted, knocked out, whatever you do to lose, you lose the belt. So they're being good within those boundaries. And a lot of people wanted Asuka to win, but they came up with a really good finish. So what happened is Asuka and Sasha Banks were going through their submissions. Like, Sasha Banks locked hers on, Asuka locked hers on, then they reversed it, then they did that. Sasha Banks then gets locked into Asuka's hold, and you can see from her facial expressions and her arm movement, she's very close to tapping out. And then the Titantron shows video footage of Kairi Sane getting the shit kicked out of her by Bayley. And Asuka, ever since her and Kairi Sane got together in the main roster, they have been best of friends.
Yeah.
So when Kairi Sane is getting beaten up by Bayley, it doesn't look as if she's going to get a comeback whatsoever. She's just getting a beating. Asuka starts to release the hold slowly, and then lets go completely, runs out the ring into the backstage area to help her friend. The referee counts to 10. Sasha Banks wins through count out, and she is now you can't dispute now, she is the women's title. It wasn't a dodgy finish, it wasn't a poor finish, it was
very well done. Yeah,
it was quite a creative way to drop the belt,
because it shows a wrestler's care for her friend.
Yeah, character.
It shows character,
Uh-huh.
and like it's not retarded. Whatever happened, putting a referee's
top on. It was a much better finish than
it
the
was.
horror show.
It makes more sense, and it's more of an impact. It's like a plot. It's not a plot point. It's a beat. It's a beat in a wrestler's journey.
Oh, exactly.
So that is really good. I like that, but something's up with the bit rate.
All right. Okay.
Oh,
You need to do.
Yeah, just give me a moment. I don't know what's happened. It just seems off. Hello. Ah, right, it's fine now. Yeah.
Up and running.
Yeah,
right,
the bitrate was messing up, but it's cool. We're fine. Anyway, yeah, that was a good finish.
Yep,
Really.
so good finish, better than the Extreme Rules match. Then we move on to Drew versus Dolph. This is the match that Drew was given complete control over the stipulation, and he decided that he was going to
do the same thing.
Same thing that Dolph done. He was going to keep the information of the stipulation until next week, this week that we're on just now. So he explains that they're just going to do Extreme Rules, same rules as Extreme Rules, but now Drew has access to the Extreme Rules aspect as well. And do you know what? I think it was just good to see Drew, although he's a face champion, it was just good to see him actually beating up the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's not limited, he's not restricted. It was okay. The match itself was okay. But obviously Drew wins.
Yeah.
He keeps the belt.
But
that
like,
was never going to change.
Going back to what I was saying, it just feels too far ahead again. It's like, why is this story feeling like it's finishing now instead of at Extreme Rules? Why do they need to continue with this? Drew has nothing to prove. Dolph agreeing to do this makes no sense. It just, although it's a good match, it feels completely unnecessary and unfulfilling.
Definitely, I agree that Extreme Rules, it should have been the end of it, because now we move on to Randy Orton feuding for the title.
Yeah. So
Drew is celebrating his victory. I mean, I say celebrating, he's just standing there with the belt, happy.
He knows I was going to win. So
yeah, exactly. He knew that it was just going to be a savage beatdown, but he got to enjoy it. And then, boom, RKO out of nowhere. A really nice end to the show. Randy Orton stands tall, big shit-eating grin in his face. He's just happy to be back in the scene, man. He's loving being a bad guy again.
Yeah.
So that was Monday Night Raw from this week. We move on to AEW. As I say, I never watched Dark, but there was not a lot of news that came out of it, so we'll just go straight into Dynamite. We had the Inner Circle that walked out, just bursting with heelism. Yeah. They were just
bad guy looks.
They are a good faction. They're not as good as the Dark Order. They're comedy and they're bad guys. But I just think sometimes they run a joke on for too long and you lose interest.
Yeah.
Typical sort of stand-up rule is if your joke doesn't seem to be working, move on to the next one. Don't try and explain the punchline. Just stop. But yeah, apart from that, they're good.
Would you say it's better than Bailey's heelism?
Oh yes, God yes. So Sammy Guevara's back. Obviously what happened with Sammy is unexcusable, but as a performer, I missed him.
Okay.
I thought the character of Sammy Guevara is enjoyable. I love watching the guy. He's a great in-ring performer, great on the mic. Personality wise, he's great. He came back as a surprise because obviously he was suspended. Yeah. I'm not sure for how long and stuff. There was no sort of end date or anything. He came back. That was good. He's done what he needs to do. And Tony Khan and obviously the other guys backstage are happy that he's back. That's just we'll say nothing more to that. He's back. Jericho asks if his jacket still smells of orange juice after Orange Cassidy dumped a whole load of orange juice on top of the Inner Circle, and Santino from the Inner Circle leans in and sniffs the jacket, and he recoils backwards in disgust, and he's like, "Nah, man, it's not orange juice. It kind of smells like cat piss." So then you have Chris Jericho at the top of his lungs, "Cassidy!" So they will have a debate next week, not a match, a debate, and there's going to be some sort of special mediator, but I don't know too much about that.
Do you mean like in ring? Like they're going to be in
like
the ring debate?
Like an in-ring debate.
Well, then it's not a debate, is it? Because
AEW seem to think it's a debate.
Well, it'll be very interesting. Like, but like you see stuff like that, and it's just like, okay, sit down in chairs, fight. Like just suddenly they disagree, fight.
Here's two podiums that are very light and can be knocked over at any time.
Yeah. What would be interesting is that if they do actually make a debate scene, you know what I mean? Like actually debate over something. That would be cool.
I'm curious. I think no matter what they do, it'll be interesting to talk about next week for us.
Yeah.
Because AEW had a really good podium moment in the ring that we'll talk about in a minute. But so you've got the Inner Circle out in the ring. Jericho's jacket smells like cat piss. Then we have the Best Friends, which is Trent, Chuck Taylor, and Orange Cassidy. They come out with the Jurassic Express. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy will be the competitors. So it's 5-on-5, a 10-man tag team bout. And as much as I love AEW and as much as I love everyone that was in the ring, too many people.
Yeah.
Too many people. The whole thing stays legal for 2 minutes before it absolutely breaks down into chaos.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it, but it's like watching a Royal Rumble where no one gets eliminated between the number 1 spot and the number 20 spot.
Or was it not a Royal Rumble?
A Battle Royale.
Battle Royale.
There's just too many people in the ring, especially the Andre the Giant Battle Royales where there's like 30 men. Too much. Too much.
Congosaurus said, think they are going to try and tie in the US election campaign, plus obviously Orange doesn't normally speak. Maybe they are.
Maybe they are. You never
don't know. But, you know, trying to get into politics and this kind of in entertainment, like in wrestling, probably won't be the best idea. Maybe they'll do a commentary on it. Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe not. Yeah.
It would be interesting. So interesting take.
If they do go for like a proper debate, I would really like it if Jericho just screams abuse at Orange Cassidy. Meanwhile, all he does is give the thumbs up or the thumbs down with his sunglasses and denim jacket on. So the 10-man tag team match, it was entertaining at points, but I was a wee bit disappointed because too many people. Too many people in the ring. So we had Jake Hager and Luchasaurus end up being the only 2 people in the ring at one point. I lost track of who was the legal man so many times. And even the commentators mixed it up as well.
See, a good idea to make it where you can know where the legal man is, that don't make it like a ringside tag team, kind of 5-man tag team, or like you could try something like where people come out one at a time from the entrance when they're trying to tag out.
The thing is, as well as AEW tag rules have got a very different specific rule as well, as where you've got 10 seconds before you have to leave the ring after being tagged. But during this 10-man tag team match, it was like tag, then the referee starts to count, and before she even got to like 3, there was another tag, and then there was another tag and another tag, and watching it, you know, there's like 4 people in the ring that don't have to leave for 10 seconds. Who's legal, who's not legal? It was just too many people, bit too confusing. Overall good match though. Luchasaurus and Jake Hager have this really good 2-minute segment where they just beat each other up, and that's just a big guy and a big guy. I love a good hoss fight.
Another idea that I have is like it can be like a tag team kind of esque, right? But just like do a 1v1 thing. I don't know if that's got a name for it. Like where you just 2 people fight, they have to get a ping. Teammates can't help. So whoever wins, then the next person in line would go fight.
So that would be an elimination tag.
Yes.
They're not done often enough.
Yeah, that's a very interesting idea because then you can have the underdog like 1v2 kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it would obviously really work in a 5v5 tag team match because then you won't be confused. You'll follow what's going on. You understand who's winning. You understand who's losing. I would really like to see elimination tags a lot more. Because I didn't even know the name because I didn't even... I haven't even seen it. This is an idea that I would have done that instead of doing a 5v5.
I would agree that an elimination tag would probably be a lot better as well than just a 10-man clusterfuck. Yeah. So, you've got the big hoss fight between Luchasaurus and Jake Hager. Jake Hager ends up outside the ring. Sammy Guevara climbs to the top rope to do some sort of high risk maneuver, and Matt Hardy's music hits. He comes out from the crowd and knocks Sammy off the top.
Is this... Was it broken?
No. This is V1. This is version 1 Matt Hardy. So he's got his hair tied back. He's got the red streak still, but it's not wavy or fluffy.
Which is very interesting because he said that he was dropping all of his gimmicks.
Yeah.
I know, which is sad to see because I'm like me and you obviously really like Broken
Matt Hardy. I loved the Stadium Stampede match where they drowned him and he emerged from the water as a different version like 3 times.
But the thing is that he said he done it because he thinks the audience needs people that they can relate to and that they can understand, which is good. But
I appreciate that. Yeah,
I don't think he's gonna stay away from the Broken Matt Hardy gimmick at all. I think he's gonna come back after.
He's got a new T-shirt.
Right.
That says the multiverse of Matt Hardy, and then it's got pictures of all of his alter egos. I definitely don't think he's dropping the gimmicks just now.
Broken Matt Hardy is probably one of the best gimmicks I've ever seen.
Definitely. TNA at its highest viewership was because of Matt Hardy.
So what I'm thinking is that he won't be dropping it, he'll be withholding it during these times, which is obviously a very good thing. And Matt Hardy still has a lot of years ahead of him for wrestling.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm excited to get a crowd of everyone saying delete.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what he wanted, and that's why he dropped it. Because
that's what he was missing when he debuted. It was cool.
Seeing him teleport and stuff.
But
it's not an audience reaction.
Yeah, he missed out on that, and that's a shame. It's a shame. Him, Drew, and do you know what? I would even say Brody Lee, being revealed as the Exalted One, missed out on a good debut for a new company as a whole new character. Like, to me, it's still weird to hear him speak.
Yeah.
Because Luke Harper didn't speak, and when he did speak, it was not a lot and very sort of like. Like he never really conversed. Whereas now you've got him talking every week.
He's got a suit on.
He looks cool.
Yeah. That is just the unfortunate times.
Yes.
But it's still good. It's just we want more, and I think Matt Hardy's doing the right move by waiting to release because there's going to be a hunger for it.
Oh, definitely.
And seeing the multiverse thing, like how with Underground, I would love to see these weird. They try to implement these wacky sci-fi or like fantasy like elements into it, like the world will end.
Yeah. Because
people will know it's stupid, but it's fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of fun, keep you entertained. So. We've got the big 10 person tag match that ends with the face team. Let me just double check actually my notes. 1, 2, 3. The face team win. Luchasaurus pins Sammy Guevara, and then Sammy Guevara starts to shout, and it's really cool because the camera's right up in his face. You can hear him shouting. Shouting Matt Hardy, calling him a son of a bitch and all that, and Matt Hardy's just off on the steps up to like the backstage, just doing that laugh thing that he does. So we move on to the TNT title match, the open challenge that Cody Rhodes is doing.
The unfinished belt.
I think it might be finished now.
Well, we haven't seen it finished. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so he's been doing this weekly open challenge, where he lets independent wrestlers come out and compete for this title. He's not lost to anybody since he won it at Double or Nothing, when he went up against Lance Archer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's given out quite a lot of opportunities. Like there's a guy called Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston is a tremendous in-ring performer. He's great on the mic, and he had a really sort of rough upbringing.
Yeah.
From New Jersey. But he came out last week. He was the challenger. That turned out to be a hardcore match. He came out and said, "Listen," because Cody Rhodes came out. Nobody knew who the opponent was. He came out, had the belt over his shoulder. He done that weird thing where he punches the ground, and then as he was being introduced, Eddie Kingston came out with his own mic, and he cut this amazing promo on the fact that Cody Rhodes always talks about he had to work all of his life, but you were raised by wrestling legends, you know, your dad, your brother, Arn Anderson, your manager, you know, who else have you got as your friend? I was raised by alcoholics and junkies. And he probably related to a lot of people. There's probably a lot of people watching that were just kind of like, yeah, do you know what? If Eddie Kingston can do it, so can I. Great bit, Arn Anderson, being the sort of the coach that he is, or the manager, put this like clipboard over his face and started talking to Cody, so that nobody could read his lips, obviously. And Eddie Kingston said, "Arn, I swear on my mother's beautiful eyes, if you don't shut up, I'm going to gouge your eyes out with a spoon." I was like, there you go. Eye for an eye match right there. Eddie Kingston versus Arn Anderson.
Hopefully using
real spoons, I know, real effective weaponry. But so this week, Eddie Kingston lost, but he has now been officially signed to AEW, so that's good for him. That means he's now getting work. He's back in action.
It's good seeing wrestlers that have a high rank, or you know, everyone knows, and then giving younger people the chance to show off how well they are, because they're not going to win, but at least it's not two unknown wrestlers fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like Kurt Angle and John Cena. Although John Cena didn't really benefit off that until he started his gimmick,
Thugonomics, his doctor of Thugonomics.
This, he already has potential, because he's starting to talk about his life, and that is something you said people can relate to, and that's what people need nowadays during COVID, so that is a lot of potential already.
I think Eddie Kingston did good with that promo. A lot of people were talking about it, and he got a contract straight after it, so you know, good on him. I'd like to see more of him. He is an Extreme Rules kind of guy. He is a violent guy, and he obviously relates that to his upbringing, but that was good. So this week, the TNT title being defended by Cody once again is against a guy called Warhorse, who I'd never heard of. A lot of people hadn't heard of Warhorse. I still don't know too much about him. I would need to look into him. But he came out and he put on a really good performance. I would describe him as, like, his face paint reminds me a lot of the Ultimate Warrior. That sort of like a superhero, like a big superhero mask. He and Cody put on a really good match. There was a lot of close falls as well. So Warhorse reversed the figure 4 leg lock before it could become like proper locked in. And then he went up to the top rope, done this big, proper, old school top rope elbow, hit Cody square in the midsection, and then went for the pin. And it was like, I put in my notes here, it was like 2.999999. It was such a near fall. I think it was obviously it's a big risk doing a near fall spot that close, because the referee could
mess up. The
referee could hit the mat, and you have to roll with it. You know, you have to just go with it. If the referee messes up, or if you kick out too soon, obviously it loses a wee bit of its validity. But such a close call, and it was really well done. Then a jackknife from Cody gets a 2.5, and then Cody does eventually lock in the figure 4 leg lock. Warhorse, you can see in his face, doesn't want to submit, but
he's not going to win, is he?
He's not going to win, and the pain is too much. I've never been in a figure 4 leg lock myself, but they make it look sore. Like the sharpshooter, they make it look really sore. But I've put my little brother in a sharpshooter before.
It's all
Didn't seem that effective.
It's all about selling, so...
Yeah, it's all about selling. So, as the match is done, Cody climbs up the top rope, got the belt over his shoulder, he's still happy, he's still the champion. The Dark Order, 2 members of the Dark Order come out, and they attack Cody. Arn Anderson jumps in the ring and squares up against them. Arn is like late 60s, mid 60s. Yeah. Come on, son, come on. So Arn Anderson squares up against 2 members of the Dark Order, and then this surprised me, which was really good. I like being surprised in wrestling. I don't like hearing rumours and then, seeing them. There's not even rumours, like spoilers.
Yeah.
And then you see it on the screen. There is a difference. Sometimes a good surprise in wrestling, goes a long way. And our surprise this week is Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Debuts as Matt Cardona, which I believe is his shoot name, and he looked good, man. He is ripped. He's
fit. He's jacked. He's been exercising. He's
got a new T-shirt and everything, and he rips it straight away.
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
You never expected him. Would you have expected him?
When he was, I expected him weeks ago.
But
I gave up expecting him because he was released, and he put up on Instagram, what he was planning on doing. He was going to focus on, because he does he's got this big collection of toys and old school 80s wrestling figures and stuff. He was going to focus on that. He's going to do a bit of YouTube, a bit of Twitch, and he was just going to lay low and calm down for a bit. And Cody Rhodes says, "Listen, man, you ever want a job? I'm your guy." I was expecting him to appear next week on AEW.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to appear maybe 2 weeks after his release, but they waited, whether it was intentional, whether there was some behind the scenes stuff or not, but they waited, and I had given up looking out for him. And he came out, rushed the ring, beat up the Dark Order guys. Cody.
See, if I was Zack though, I would have waited till COVID and the crowds are back, because that would have gotten so much more of a reaction. You know what I mean?
I think
same thing we were talking about Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I think although although you're not going to lose the hype. People are still going to be like, "Oh, I wonder when Zack Ryder's going to appear in AEW and all that. I wonder when this is going to happen." And then yes, a crowd reaction would have made it so much better. But I think being a wrestler for as long a time as Zack Ryder or Matt Hardy or Brodie Lee have been wrestlers, they don't want to wait too long. I think they let their impatience get the better of them, and nobody knows when they're going to have live audiences back. Just now, there's talks of late September, but they were talking about that. They said July back in May.
Yeah.
So September could turn into 2021, and then God knows how long we have to wait. But I think wrestlers get impatient, because to some wrestlers it's not just a job. It's not even about the money. It is
about the fans
performing.
Performing.
It's for the fans. It's for them, just as individuals. There's something about being in a ring. So he comes out. He looks jacked. He looks amazing. Rips his T-shirt. Him and Cody, boof, arms in the air. Then he does an L and an I, which is Long Island, which is where he's from. Which took me a second to figure that out. I was looking at it and I was like, don't know what that means, but I got it eventually. And there's lots of talk now that Cody will defend the TNT title against Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona as sort of like a reward for him, as friends. Oh, listen, man, you want a shot at the title? Nice about it. And I think he'll win. I think Matt Cardona will win it.
Yeah,
and
I would definitely like to see that.
The TNT title is their Intercontinental, their United States belt, except it looks a wee bit better. It's not. It's not important. Nobody really wants, or nobody really needs the belt. I think they're boosting themselves just by being in a match for the belt. I think the belt itself doesn't hold too much validity. The champion being Cody is I think it had to be somebody. why not put it on Cody? You know, he's the face of the company just now.
Yes.
So we got a women's match.
Don't really know many women's in the AEW.
I mean, I do, but
I don't.
It wasn't worth. I haven't taken any notes. There was a women's match. There you go.
Okay.
Hikaru Shida versus Diamante. Nothing much happened. Just,
okay.
Yeah.
Just a match.
So then we move on to I would definitely say the best moment of the show, the presidential campaign from Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF. Oh, it was amazing. I don't really have much more to say on that. I mean, the guy, I love MJF.
Yeah.
He's a great bad guy. I mean, I loved watching him, which is weird, I loved watching him whip Cody with his belt. It was, I'll have a match with you as long as I can give you 10 lashes with my belt.
Yeah.
Something like that. But that was great. He's a really good bad guy. And obviously the whole campaign speech is Jon Moxley isn't the people's champion. He doesn't do anything that a champion should do. He's, you know, if it wasn't for the belt, he wouldn't even be he wouldn't even look like a champion. He wouldn't even act like one. It's just he's just Jon Moxley basically, and MJF doesn't like that. So he starts to he subtly refers to WWF or WWE when he mentions that Jon Moxley came in with a different name, but everybody knew who he was, and just because he comes from the land of Titans means that he gets a shot at the belt. And then he goes, I don't think so, brother. Like
he's such a good personality.
He's really good on social media. It's
not even social media. It's just his general life.
Just in general.
Like you see him doing things, and he's the same guy, and it's so weird. I love what he does. He is the embodiment of a gimmick, and it won't go away anytime soon.
Definitely not. Whatever he's doing so well. And nobody's stopping.
No.
Nobody's stopping the path that he's on. Like, he posted a picture to social media, which was clearly photoshopped, of him standing in front of a mirror, dressed up as like a sort of sexy fireman, with the hat and the trousers on. And who was photoshopped in the background? But Stephanie McMahon. And he put that up. And everyone in the comments were like, "Oh, wait until Triple H sees this, and wait until this, and wait until that." And he doesn't refer to him as Triple H. He calls him Paul. It's amazing. Like, MJF just goes out, "Oh, what's Paul going to do? What's old man Paul going to do?" And he refers to. There was a moment a few months ago. Billy Gunn couldn't call himself Billy Gunn because the Gunn name is owned by WWE. Right. Had to call himself Billy, which is fine. It's just a name. It's like Cody Rhodes can't call himself Cody Rhodes on TV. Has just been Cody. American Nightmare, Cody. So MJF was in a match with Billy Gunn, and he called him Billy Boy. So Billy Boy, old dinosaur Vinnie Mac won't let you use your surname and all that. Oh, it was great. So he's really good, and he's really uncensored, I would say, in a good way. I love him. His presidential campaign was great, and there's more to come next week apparently.
Hopefully.
So, and Wardlow, have you seen much of Wardlow? The big guy in a suit that walks about with him. Like you can just see him in the background. There.
Yeah, I think I saw this guy like clothesline someone with his shoulder.
But the thing is, like, he looks really cool in a suit. Like, the suit looks as if it's going to burst off him if he breathes too much. Like, it looks as if he lets out a sigh of relief or something, his shoulders are just going to burst through the suit. He looks great, and when he's competing, he's just a big, muscly fuck. He's great.
Just a guy. But yeah, just a big highlight in wrestling is MJF.
Definitely.
Everywhere.
Definitely.
What's next? Anything?
So, next we move on to the main event of the show. Darby Allin.
Not that.
Not Impact, not yet. Impact to be a quick one as well, just in case MD's either worried or interested. Impact's going to be a short one this week. So we've got the main event. That's next week's main event. The main event for this week was Jon Moxley and Darby Allin against there we go, against Ricky Starks, the absolute Ricky Starks. He's good as well. He's great. He's small, but he's fast.
Like a Ricochet.
He's like a Ricochet, nice. But a wee bit more personality wise.
Personality, cool.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
You've got the Machine Brian Cage, who before Double or Nothing, no, after Double or Nothing, my mistake, was given the FTW belt, which they will continuously refer to as an unofficial AEW championship. AEW do not affiliate with the FTW belt.
Okay.
That is a belt that that is a belt that ECW came up with, gave to a few people, and then gave to Taz. Taz was the last champion, I believe, and then it was just never used again. It's got a really weird orange strap as well. It's quite unique looking, but it was never used again. And then and then Taz came out one week with this thing wrapped up in a towel. Just a towel, not even like velvet or anything, just like a shitty bath towel. Came out and it was like, Brian Cage, you're about to compete against Jon Moxley for the AEW title, but I'm not having you go in there without a title. And he reveals this really weird looking... I mean, look at the text. The text is just like...
There's not much form to it. It's just circles.
Yeah, so anyway, he's the FTW champion, but the belt has never been competed for. He's never defended it. No, has he? He may have defended it on an episode of Dark. I can't remember.
Maybe,
But basically, they will continuously say that it's not an AEW title. It means nothing to the company. But the belt that Jon Moxley holds is the championship for AEW. And you know what? I like Jon Moxley. I like Dean Ambrose.
Of course.
Dean Ambrose was...
He wasn't amazing, but I wouldn't
have put a belt on him as Dean Ambrose. But they did. They put all 3 belts on him. Yeah, I believe they put all 3 belts on him in WWE.
I don't think he's like upper card, but mid-card belts, maybe like Intercontinental or like
he had the US, he had the Intercontinental,
US was his first.
He had the tag, US was his first,
he got that in Shield.
Yep, and then he held the heavyweight.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean he's got a good track record for wrestling. He's very popular.
Just after Shield, he didn't really do much.
Yeah. He held a grudge against Seth Rollins, and they just kept that storyline for just a bit too long. So they have a match, tremendous match. Now this is the tornado tag match, which means there is no tag.
Yes.
It is 4 people kicking the shit out of each other. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 against 2, obviously not 4 people beating up each other. But it starts off with Jon Moxley on his own. Darby Allin's music plays, but it doesn't come out. So then Brian Cage's music plays and he comes out, Ricky Starks comes out with them, and they make their way down to the ring, and then Darby Allin does a coffin drop, which is his finisher, which is basically crosses his arms over his chest and just falls backwards. He falls off of the top of the little circle things that they emerge out of, the sort of tunnels.
Yeah.
Lands on Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, comes in the ring. I don't think him and Jon Moxley high five or anything like that. I don't think they're that type of team. They've been thrown together for this match specifically because Jon Moxley doesn't like seeing Darby Allin getting beat up by 2 or 3 people at one time, and Darby Allin does respect Jon as, a wrestler and a champion and stuff like that. So they have a really good match, the 4 of these guys. Absolutely amazing. Tony Schiavone refers to Brian Cage as he's talking to Taz, and I believe it's Darby Allin hits Brian Cage with a bin, like one of the aluminium trash can things that looked really good. They're really good because they're so.
You ever seen like Shane McMahon use them
the coast to coast,
jumping into it?
The coast to coast is great with the trash can. So he uses that, and Tony Schiavone says to Taz, "Oh, that's your man being hit with the trash can there," and Taz is like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Brian Cage is not a man. He's a machine, Tony." It was like, right, okay, we get it, but like, come on, let's be realistic. He is just a man, but he's a jacked man. He's Swolverine. They've not referred to him as that, but he's Swolverine, which is really cool. So, it is Extreme Rules. There is the use of the trash can, as it says. There is the use of a steel chair. And then it finishes with Darby Allin going under the ring and pulling out a skateboard covered in thumbtacks.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned the wheels have been removed, just in case anybody wants to question the ergonomics of this. The wheels have been removed. It's covered in thumbtacks at the base. He hits Ricky Starks with it in the face. Not the thumbtacks, just the edge of it. Hits him in the face. So Ricky Starks rotates to the side and sort of hunches over, holding his face. Darby Allin climbs to the top rope, jumps, and in mid-air puts the skateboard on his feet, as you would, riding a skateboard, or going a skateboard. Lands it on Ricky Stark's back, and then falls off it. But the board seems to land and then scrape
over his back.
The only way I can describe it looks as if it lands and then skids a little bit forward because of Darby Allin's momentum. So Darby Allin lands, the board lands in a safe position, and then it shows you Ricky Stark's back covered in thumbtacks. Oh, it looks so sore. There's no way to fake that. It's not as if they're fake thumbtacks. There was a match in TNA where they used Skittles instead of thumbtacks in like a comedy match with Grado, and I think it was Abyss. That was a good few years ago. So thumbtacks, can he fake it? So sore looking. Ricky Starks goes down. He turns to the hard cam, and you can see it in his back, blood trickling down.
Just like good.
It was so good.
Like a Mick Foley kind of thing.
Yeah, the camera focuses, it zooms in. Oh, it was amazing to see. I loved it. Really good. The heels get up. Cage and Starks get up, make their way out. Taz goes off with them as Cage's manager, or somebody called him a handler, like a gorilla. he's Brian Cage's handler. They go off backstage. Darby Allin and Jon Moxley are celebrating, but in their sort of solemn way. Obviously, they're not pals. They're not pals. They're not going to be jumping about celebrating. They're just sort of like, yeah, we won. I'm Jon Moxley. What are you going to do? Then they sort of look at each other. Darby Allin looks at the belt, and then as the show starts to wind down and wrap up, Tony on commentary says it's just been revealed that Darby will face Jon Moxley next week on Dynamite. Now, they're not doing like contract signings or anything like that. They will reveal what's happening next week as this week's still playing. I've got nothing against it. I'm excited for this match. Darby Allin, tremendous performer. Suffered an injury at the hands of Brian Cage at Double or Nothing and was out of action for a few weeks, but he was concussed last week as well.
Was he?
Yeah, Ricky Starks hit him from behind, and he hit the ropes right in so like you take a bump to the back of the head, then you hit the ropes at the front of your forehead, and that was him concussed. So I think last week they had this wee segment. It was like 5 minutes long, but I think it was supposed to be longer. But everybody that was in the ring knew that Darby Allin was concussed. Let's cut this short. Yeah. Like when Jeff Hardy came out high, Sting was like, right, let's cut this short.
Yeah, let's just cut this really thin.
So yeah, that was Dynamite, and just my little joke there of of TNA. We're now moving on to TNA, or as it's known now, Impact. We'll get a picture of the.
Finally.
I tried to find
an actual Impact.
Like a better picture, but none of it was high resolution. That was the best I could find. But do you know there's a crowd there? Do you know Impact still don't have a crowd?
Okay.
So WWE brought in
the plastic.
The plastic shielding.
Plastic shielding.
Some of it is fans, and some of it is people from NXT and stuff like that. AEW don't have the shields, but they've got the wrestlers on the outside of the ring. Impact is still an empty arena. Yeah.
I don't. That's odd. They could easily just get wrestlers out.
Yeah, it has been done. It's being done by... I don't think Impact views anyone as their competition. I think they're going for this idea that they're not Raw, SmackDown, they're not AEW, they are Impact.
Okay.
You know, they're not competing against anybody, they're not going after views or ratings or...
Oh, they kind of need that to keep going.
Well, yeah, you would think so, but I don't think that's how they're acting, and it's a wee bit strange, but quite a short one.
I don't know anything about Impact, so
no,
I don't have much to comment.
I watched Slammiversary, and I think I mentioned that during the last episode we done with the horror show. Slammiversary really surprised me, and I definitely think it's turned me back into a TNA fan.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the thing is, I've been away from TNA for so long, I don't really know who's in it anymore, apart from the people that have jumped ship. So the Good Brothers, Heath Slater, Rhino, EC3 is back in TNA. Impact. They don't, for some reason they don't call themselves TNA, but they've still got the TNA title belt. That's their new mid-card belt. They've got a TNA title belt, they've got an X Division title belt, which was their original mid-card, and then they've got the Impact Heavyweight. So I think they've definitely intrigued me enough to want to watch them week to week. But I think it's because I don't know these people from anywhere.
It's hard
to really, you know, it's
enjoy
hard to be
it.
gripped to the stories and to the matches. But it opens with Eddie Edwards defending his title against Trey Miguel of a team called the Rascals, who their theme song opens with a bong being boiled, or not boiled, was the sort of like, and then the puff of smoke.
Yeah, a bong.
So yeah, a bong. Yeah. So that's how their introduction song starts. The match itself was good. Eddie Edwards is a good performer. Trey Miguel, a good performer. He was quite comedic. You know, the team of the Rascals are supposed to be like teenagers. Like when they say where they come from, when the announcer says where they come from, it says they come from the treehouse. You know, as like young rascals would. But Trey Miguel seems to have this. He seems to have like get more serious, especially in the lead up to Slammiversary for the title opportunity. So he was given an opportunity last week on Impact to face this week on Impact Eddie Edwards for the belt. The match itself was good, as I said. We get the in-ring debut of the Good Brothers finally.
Cool.
Who go up against Reno Scum, who are a tag team I don't know. I have not seen them before. I didn't really watch them. I was more interested in the Good Brothers being the Good Brothers.
And the Good Brothers are probably going to win that, aren't they?
Yeah. So they won that bout. It goes out of the ring and it goes out of the arena, and then sort of stops. Like there isn't a clear winner. It just sort of drifts off, and then the camera can't follow them. So we'll find out what happens next week, I suppose.
In the chat, Congo enjoying returns of Motorcycle Machine Guns and EC Pound.
Yeah, EC Pound sign, or EC3 as his real name is. No, you know he's got a good point. EC3, who really tragic story about EC3. EC3 was in TNA. His contract was coming to an end, and he was really popular. And TNA offered him a renewal, and WWE offered him more money. He took it because it's WWE, it's more money. Woo, that's what we want. He was given 3 matches during his WWE career of a year and a half.
Ooh.
Yep.
So he was really popular?
Really popular in TNA, and that's what I'm saying. WWE seems to
just
poach people
ignore
because they're popular, so that no one else has them, but not use them.
I would definitely not do WWE.
I think a lot of people nowadays, I've got this idea in the head that WWE is no longer the big time.
No.
There is no big time. You make your own big time.
It's definitely not big time anymore.
No, definitely not. So,
like if this was like 5 years ago, I'm pretty sure they would have done something with them.
Yeah.
But
so
I don't know what's happened.
As Congosaurus is saying, Motor City Machine Guns are a tag team who came back at Slammiversary. really good performers, but because I don't know much about them, I did find it quite difficult to stay really entertained by the match. But performance-wise, Motor City Machine Guns, really cool. EC3, again, I mean, I'm looking forward to EC3 because I hope he can get back to where he was in TNA, even though it's been a year and a half and his career kind of died in WWE, which is completely WWE's fault. I mean, there's no... EC3 probably done as much as he could have done, and they were just not having it for some reason. So, anyway, Sami Callihan, who I'd like to talk about as well, really good performer, done some good stuff in Glasgow when he was in ICW for a little bit, done some really good work here. He is now sort of getting back up to the sort of the top end of the card and stuff with this hacker gimmick that he's built around just now. Now he's done some interviews, and I don't know the validity behind this, but apparently WWE stole the hacker gimmick when he was in developmental. They used the hacker gimmick in NXT after he had proposed it to them, and they said, nah, nobody's going to go for a hacker gimmick, nah. And he was like, well, you know, social media is everything. Everything that you are as a person is online. A hacker can ruin your life or make you, you know, change. A hacker can change your life for the good or for the worse. You know, whether you like it or not, you have no control in this. That's how powerful a hacker can be in this modern day. And WWE were just like, nah. So he went over to Impact, debuted the hacker gimmick. I think it's really impressive. It's really over with the crowd. The crowd seem to love it. 2 weeks after he debuted it on Impact, NXT started doing a hacker gimmick.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Triple H wanted to do a hacker gimmick. Maybe he didn't. I don't know.
Triple H doesn't get the final say, so he could have been on board with it, but the writers, you know, could have just went, nah, it's not going to work. Marketing wise, it's not going to work. You know, we can't. The hacker's not going to work. It's not going to do this. Not going to do that. But then, and then it came to TNA or Impact, should I say, and they said, listen, man, if you think it's going to work, do it. If you think that it's going to be over, do it. He done it. Successful.
To be fair, taking an idea that is it like they can't really copyright something like this, can they? So like you can take that idea.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
If it works, it works.
It still feels a bit cheaty to steal someone's idea, but they done it anyway, and okay, if it works, go ahead. But I don't know.
I don't know how Sami Callihan's dealing with it, but I would say if you have a gimmick and somebody steals your gimmick, you make sure that
your gimmick is yours.
You make sure that you're the best of the two, so that when somebody says, "Oh, have you heard about that hacker wrestler?" Sami Callihan's the first person to think about. You make sure that your name is the first person they think about, rather than, oh, which hacker?
Yes.
Yeah. There is no other hacker. You make sure you're on top. So to summarise, obviously I did say that Impact was going to be short this week. To summarise, not a bad show. I'm getting back into it. Some good matches, some good performers, and hopefully they can grip me just a wee bit more, and I'll have more to talk about in future shows. So NXT. Oh yeah, there's the Good Brothers.
Yeah,
they look cool. They look cool. So we'll move on to NXT. Again, NXT, I watched it sort of in the background while I was doing other stuff. Yeah. So I sort of, it was more commentary I got and sort of reactions that I got than actual matches. But we have basically the image we've got on the screen was the biggest, to me, the biggest moment in NXT, is you have the feud starting between Keith Lee and Karrion Kross, who's just an absolute killer. I love Karrion Kross. Again,
that's Karrion Kross on the left right there, yeah?
Yes, that's it.
He looks like Stone Cold.
Looks like Stone Cold, acts like a serial killer.
Oh, wow.
That's how I would put it. So, yeah, overall for NXT, again, good show. I would say good show. But the most notes I got were from the Keith Lee and Karrion Kross story.
I like Keith Lee. I've seen a lot about him. He was in the Luchador movie.
He certainly was. Yeah, he was in Main Event. Have you seen the match where Keith Lee wins the NXT title?
I want to watch it. I just haven't yet.
The thing is, for the rest, you don't have to watch the rest of the show. Just watch the final match, the main event, because obviously, to expose the business, the wrestlers know if they're going to win or if they're going to lose, unless something really horrible happens in the middle of the match. The wrestlers know they're going to win or they're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll always find that wrestlers, when if you're interviewing them and they do go behind the scenes when they're talking to you, there's a whole different feeling between your boss saying you're going to win on Sunday and actually winning. So you can when you watch the match, for you guys that have seen it, you can see in Keith Lee's face when he gets the 1, 2, 3. He just looks so happy.
It's because it's over with and you've made a good match.
Yeah, he definitely put on a good match. Both him and Adam Cole. I don't really like Adam Cole, but both him and Adam Cole put on a great match. And I was really happy that they gave the guy they gave Keith Lee 2 belts. And then the week after, he vacated one of them.
Yeah.
The North American one to give the opportunity. That is the facest move.
It's probably his choice.
Oh yeah, choice, I would believe that.
It's so likeable, him doing that.
Yeah, just being like, do you know what?
I'm the NXT champion.
Yeah,
I don't need another one.
I've got 1 belt, and there's many guys in the card that don't have any belts. I'll offer this one up. Yeah. Keith Lee, Karrion Kross. I'm really looking forward to it. Karrion Kross, that is his wife, Scarlett Bordeaux. I believe that's his wife. They're definitely in a relationship.
His wife looks like she wants to be like a Harley Quinn.
She's definitely sort of one of these people you see kicking about town, like
looking mad,
wearing like really short leather skirts when it's snowing.
Yeah.
Because that's who she is. You can't tell me what to wear, mum. So
yeah, she looks weird, but she's dating a married.
she's married a serial killer. Air quotes serial killer. Yeah, Karrion Kross is great. It's got a great theme song, and it's a very simple theme song. It's just a heavy metal guitar followed by Scarlett Bordeaux screaming "Fall and Pray." But honestly, I could listen to that on loop. It's a really good theme.
Reminds me of Stone Cold Joe. You just hear a big guitar, like glass smashing, big guitar. What else could it be similar to? Like
The Shield.
Shield, yeah.
Roman Reigns. Just that on.
Seth Rollins burning like the drums.
They said I don't like new Seth Rollins theme.
What is it? I've forgotten already.
It's like a church. It opens with
and then it turns into it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I remember now. But it's simple stuff like that, but like really big and impactful, and reminds you straight away. Oh, this is this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Shawn Michaels. Doom 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 doom.
Shawn Michaels has got a good one.
Triple H. It's like when you hear a boom.
Yes. Who was it? That's I believe it was Jim Johnson, the guy that created all of the wrestling theme songs from like even before the Attitude Era up until
PG, or
even during the PG era. I think it got to a certain point where he retired and they gave the contract to some group of people that do things all electronically. Like Jim Johnson did bring in like live musicians and stuff, whereas these guys have just got all pre-recorded and it's all garage band bullshit and stuff. So Jim Johnson, I believe it was Jim Johnson that said you should know who's coming out within the first 5 seconds.
First measure.
Yeah, the first measure. You should know who's coming out without seeing anything on the Titantron just by the first measure of the music. And, that's why Stone Cold has the glass shattering.
That's why the Undertaker has
the gong, the dong. You know, there's loads of people that there's something just at the beginning of their song, their theme song, something at the beginning, and as soon as you hear that, you know who's coming out.
Yeah.
Or like Edge, you think you know me.
Yeah.
And it's just it's silence for maybe 2 whole seconds, which in music is a long time. You get 2 whole seconds of just nothing, and then the song kicks in. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I lost track now. What was I talking about? I was talking about Karrion Kross's theme, and Keith Lee's got a great theme as well.
It's a good topic that we can touch on again in detail if we want to.
WWE music or wrestling music in general.
We can possibly make a video about just music and all that and how great it's affected WWE. Probably one of my favourite things, and because I don't know. It's got so much character in it, but continue what you were saying.
So NXT, I'll wrap up. NXT was good. Good thumbs up for NXT.
I don't have anything else on NXT.
No, I think it was only the one image that I gave you for NXT. So that there we go.
SmackDown.
That's that. So we'll move on to SmackDown. I'll mention as well, just in case MD's listening and interested in NXT UK. The episode that was released on the network this week is another one of the greatest hits that's been selected by different superstars. And it showcases matches between Mark Andrews and Joseph Connors, Xia Brookside versus Isla Dawn, who's from Glasgow. She's one of us. One of us sounds really weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, you said it as if we were really patriotic.
Isla Dawn's one of us.
We really don't care if she's Scottish.
She's the niece of one of the girls in my work that works in the accounts team. She's also the niece of one of the co-writers of Burniston.
Okay.
Random information in case anybody didn't know that. Then we've got Pete Dunne versus Noam Dar. Noam Dar, who's from Ayr. He's not one of us. He's not from Glasgow. But no, I'm only kidding. He's Scottish. No, but Noam Dar's great. Have I ever met Noam Dar? I don't think so. I've seen him live a couple of times. I don't think I've ever met the guy though. I've seen him live a couple of times. Him and Pete Dunne had a great match. Or have had great matches, should I say. Pete Dunne is just... Pete Dunne's great to watch as well. He's a violent guy. There's something about violent guys. I like violent guys in wrestling. So then we move on to SmackDown. So, SmackDown, we had Big E being given the blessing of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods that he can now do a singles run.
A blessing?
He's been giving the blessing that Big E can now do a singles run. Now, me and Luke will go into more detail in probably future episodes depending on which direction Big E's career goes in, but we have got some fantasy booking for Big E going heel. Big evil. Yeah, that's what we want. We want a big monster heel Big E taking on Braun Strowman, taking on Drew McIntyre.
Because he looks like the type of guy that could do that.
He's more in shape than I think people realise.
Yes, he looks a bit fat, but that's what he wears. That's the thing that he wears.
Yeah, he's
because like the straps kind of pull out the clothes a bit. So if he was wearing tighter stuff, people would realise that he's a monster.
Yeah, like Mark Henry was fat but in shape.
Yes.
Whereas Big E's big and in shape. Yeah, like the muscles are there. It's not fat. The muscles. Keith Lee's fat. Keith Lee's a fat guy.
No, but yeah, he's fat, but like that's because he needs to keep up with his proteins and his he's a strength guy. Like that's why Mark Henry, like he's the strongest guy in the world.
Yeah, good point. I meant to mention as well, Mark Henry was just kicking about Raw.
Was he?
Yeah, he's backstage just walking about.
Oh, I bet he's
he bumped into a few people and he spoke to some people before their matches, but he was just.
He probably works with WWE.
Probably works backstage, but it just I don't know. It felt like. That's Mark Henry.
Yeah.
They should maybe mention that more. He's just wandering about backstage as if he's like lost. So Big E gets permission to do the singles run, has a match with Miz, and Big E defeats Miz by submission.
Which is good because
which is a good start.
Miz isn't up. He was kicking about
for the not used Nation gimmick.
Yes.
He came back thinking that it was Nation of Domination, and it turns out that it was just MVP and his shitty belt.
Kong also said you love the Big Evil idea. Thank you, man. This me and William were playing WWE 2K, one of the 2K games.
2K, I believe 2K19 before it went really downhill.
2K18 actually.
Was 8? Yeah. Oh, you're right. It was 18.
We're playing 2K18. We've done our own fantasy kind of storylines.
Yeah, just Big E going down this evil path, taking out everything in his way.
But yeah, I really like Big E.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him wearing like black, maybe dark clothing, like a burgundy red, or something like that, with contacts, fully shaved head, this really evil persona, and I would like him just destroying everyone. I don't know. That may be me being biased, but I think that has potential.
Yeah. So SmackDown, we had Big E coming out on his singles run. Here we go. Defeats The Miz by submission, which is tremendous as well. I mean, not even a 1-2-3 pin, like a good guy or a usual match by submission, man.
And it's The Miz as well. He's not like top, but he defeating him does mean something, and it works really well. So he's just glad to see Big E's first single match.
Yeah.
Doing really well. Because I like him.
So we then move on to a not so gripping episode of SmackDown. Basically, quite poor to say the least. I can't even remember the order. What's the next one? So we had Mandy Rose being savagely attacked by Sonya Deville. I'm not even sure that this. I don't see why this is necessary. Mandy Rose is quite happy not wrestling. She's quite happy being part of a storyline. She's quite happy having backstage stuff and vignettes. But I think this just goes to reinforce what we were talking about in the last episode with Extreme Rules. If the women's belt isn't involved, storylines are very lackluster.
Yeah.
And we have here Sonya Deville cuts off a lock of Mandy's hair.
Like a lock, Yeah. See, if they wanted to go something, they should have went the whole way and just shave her hair.
Yeah.
But obviously she probably wouldn't have been up for it. But what I'm saying is that if you want to make a good story and all that, you gotta go the full way, because nobody really cares about women right now. There's only 5 to 10 wrestlers that people really honestly care about, and that's a low number.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying they're bad wrestlers. I'm saying that they've got potential and it's not being used because
it's not their fault. Yeah. We know that it's not their fault.
I think everyone knows that WWE just doesn't use potential.
Yeah, just now anyway. They've still got a lot of work to do, but. I'll specify as well, not specify, I'll clear it up. That's not blood on Mandy Rose's face, that's lipstick. She was touching up her makeup. Yeah, this is another thing, a wee bit stereotypical. She was touching up her makeup.
Yeah.
Women don't do that.
No.
She would have her makeup done before
she would do anything.
She does anything before she goes on camera. Her makeup will be done. Women don't touch up their makeup every 10 minutes.
Yeah, if they would touch up their makeup, they'd go to the toilet and it wouldn't even be lipstick. It would be contour or
just a dab of some
just
sort of colour
fixing
thing.
Themselves up.
Yeah.
If they needed to, she doesn't seem like she needs to. She's just look at her lips right now. It doesn't look that red, and look how red that lipstick is.
No, that's proper gimmick lipstick.
Yeah.
So that happens, and then security separates them. Mandy gets to run away, and security holds back Sonya Deville, who then says it's okay. I've got what I came for. Is she going to fucking clone her? What do you mean you've got what you came for? You've got a handful of hair. See if in a few weeks Sonya Deville comes out as a tag team with a clone of Mandy Rose. that okay, at that point I'll be like, do you know what, WWE, you got me.
Yeah,
I am interested now.
That's like a cinematic kind of match idea.
It'd be so silly. She's got a twin that nobody ever knew about.
Or maybe a clone twin that doesn't look like her. So then they can actually get matches in. But yeah, that happens.
So that happens. We've got the SmackDown women. I feel like we've missed something.
There's AJ.
So AJ versus Gran Metalik for the Intercontinental title. I love AJ. I don't really care much for Grand Metalik. See, when it comes to like the guys that came over from 205 Live,
which generally did not know that this was the guy.
Yeah, it's the cruiserweight. The cruiserweights were promoted on social media, and that was about all they really got. You know, a lot of people have just not moved on from that. So you've got Grand Metalik, who was given an opportunity at the IC belt. AJ beat him, and I discovered as well AJ moved from Raw to SmackDown, and not a lot of people knew why. It just sort of happened. AJ despises Paul Heyman.
Does he?
Paul Heyman said that the Good Brothers were going to be pushed to the very top when they were signed from Japan to WWE. That never happened. AJ questioned it, and Paul Heyman was like, this is the business. But Paul Heyman like made promises and hyped himself up and stuff. I believe he said to Carl Anderson that if whatever I've ever said to you comes out as a lie, you have my full permission to completely destroy me, online or backstage or in the locker rooms or whatever, slander me, drag my name through the dirt, whatever, because I'm a man of my word. And then obviously they were released at the beginning of the lockdown. So AJ has said to backstage members of staff, I'm not working with Paul Heyman, move me to SmackDown so that I never need to work with the man. And that's what they've done. So he's on SmackDown, he's got the IC belt, he's just defending it in like really sort of diddy matches. Don't really mean much.
Yeah. Well, it's giving other people the chance to show their potential, their talent in the ring. So it's good. I'm just saying that I don't trust WWE with loyalty because they don't have any idea on how to push people.
I think the thing about what they're doing just now is maybe they're trying to copy the TNT thing that AEW are doing. Maybe they're not. Who's to say? But I don't think we're going to see Grand Metalik for a wee while. No. I think SmackDown or WWE have promoted him in this one match. I don't think we're going to see him for a wee while. So that happens. AJ retains by submission. Yep, that's the match. The SmackDown Women's title match closes the show.
No, I didn't have anything for that.
We have Bayley as your champion versus Nikki Cross. And again, this just felt a wee bit... I mean, they had a match at Extreme Rules 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Just
same critique, like 2 ahead and all that.
Yeah, it's like just finish it at the pay per view. Don't drag it on.
For a person who's like got a storyline that they are not confident.
Yeah.
Like, why are they going against the championship and not like people who aren't as good? So then she knows.
Why not build up your confidence and then go for the title rather than going in?
Yeah, we're just seeing a wrestler lose, so we're watching a match that we definitely know the outcome of.
Yes.
So I don't know, man. Like if she was against like a normal wrestler, that like a lower one, you'd go like you actually don't know because she could lose this.
Yeah.
But you know we won't know now.
No, not now. That's us done with that. So, the match ends. Bayley retains, goes off. Then Nikki and Alexa have a bit of a spat in the ring. Nikki leaves and Alexa falls to her knees, just quite upset with the whole thing. The lights go out one at a time, and then the red light comes on, and out comes the Fiend, who... It's very weird. I couldn't find a picture that wasn't creepy, but not even like not horror creepy. Just like Bray Wyatt looks like a creep.
What do you mean, like a sexual predator?
Yeah, do you know, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, I couldn't find a picture online where he didn't look as if he was going to do something really evil to Alexa, like.
I guess maybe that's what they were going for.
Maybe that's what they were going for. So he puts the mandible claw on Alexa. I don't know what glove he used, whether it was the heart or heel. So, you know, obviously there was the whole rumour that whatever glove he used to use the mandible claw turned you face or it turned you heel. I don't know what hand he used. I never paid that much attention, but I'm sure we'll find out later on. And then that closed the show. That was SmackDown.
Yeah.
I just want to double check to make sure we didn't miss anything. Nope, that was SmackDown. So, actually, SmackDown was the last show. That was the week of wrestling.
Just these rumours.
So backstage stuff. So Kairi Sane's gone proper. That's her gone. This week was her last week. She's away back to Japan to live with her husband that she married like 2 months ago or something, and she couldn't spend much time with him because of WWE obviously being in America. So they're back to Japan, and we'll hopefully see her, going back into the independent scene with NJPW and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, interested. WrestleMania plans for WrestleMania 37. It's been revealed, well, I say revealed, it's been rumoured backstage that they are going to do Randy Orton versus Edge again.
Yes.
But they're doing an I Quit match. Whether that's I Quit the company or whether that's just I Quit this match, whatever, that's what they're going for. So I think it's quite good putting Randy Orton in the title scene just now. I don't think he's going to win it, and if he does win it, Drew will get it back quite soon.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite good just to buy time, put him in the title scene. What else was I going to say? So, the winning show for this week.
Well,
what do you... I feel like I watched too much wrestling.
Oh.
And it's all sort of jumbled up. From what we've discussed, what show would you say?
Well, of course, AEW with the promo. But
I would agree to that. I do think they had the better matches. Definitely appealed more to me.
They definitely have the better character, the better wrestlers.
Definitely. Well, discussing wrestlers now.
Better storylines and
the better storylines, definitely. But so just discussing wrestlers, we're going to move on to anointing the first ever W Factor champion. Which what we'll do is obviously when we review the week of wrestling, we are going to choose one person who we feel proved themselves to be just an outstanding personality or in-ring performer or whatever they've done it, and they deserve our appreciation and our fan base's appreciation. So the W Factor Championship title, look,
no, you know who it is.
We're in agreement. It's going to go to MJF for his presidential campaign.
It's fantastic.
It was great to watch. Tremendous. So much passion the guy has for the business. So we love him. And do you know what? What we'll do is every episode that we do, we'll either crown a new champion or the previous champion will retain their title. And the way things are going, I think MJF might hold on to it for a wee while.
Yep.
That's the way I see it going.
If they keep up. But yep, that was us covered all the shows. We've done our World Championship thing. Now we'll look at questions that have been asked on our Facebook.
Yes, so we're on episode 2. That's enough, and it's to be expected that we're still starting out small, but we're building up. I've actually noticed on social media we are becoming, we are being engaged quite a lot, which is good. Mm-hmm. But when we ask for comments and questions for tonight's show, obviously we've had Congosaurus, who has been the third member of the show. he's been
very active.
Very active. So you know what? Thank you very much, Congosaurus. You might one day defeat MJF for the W Factor title. We don't know.
Yeah.
But let's see where things go. And you seem to like the Big Evil idea, so let's keep you interactive.
If someone likes the Big Evil idea, then
somebody likes the Big Evil idea, they're definitely then running for a title shot. So we have a Facebook comment from Amy, just saying, is it not weird that wrestlers such as Daniel Bryan and Edge were forced to retire, or they could die due to their injuries, but years later they are, air quotes, cleared to come back for a big event like a Royal Rumble or WrestleMania? I don't know if I would say weird. Definitely medicine changes and surgeries can change, and
also the status of like the person himself, like natural healing, what the doctor thinks, what's happened. I don't find it weird at all. I just find it like unclear. Yeah. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, really, because...
And when you suffer an injury like Daniel Bryan, Paige, or Edge, or, Kurt Angle, Steve Austin, anyone in the history of wrestling, when you suffer an injury like that, you know, when it comes to WWE, you have to go through 2 sets of doctors. You have to go through a medical professional doctor and then a medically trained doctor for WWE. Daniel Bryan for a long time was cleared to wrestle through a medical doctor, but the medical expert at WWE told him that liability wise and, you know, insurance wise, they weren't going to clear him to wrestle. And, you know, as well, when they come back for big events like Royal Rumbles and WrestleManias, they don't necessarily have to do anything dangerous. They don't have to do, you know, Hawk from the Road Warriors or the Legion of Doom, where he, you know, when he was advised against taking any bump whatsoever. That, you know, they can come back and have a match where they don't leave their feet, or they can come back just for a segment, an in-ring segment where they don't say or do much, but
like Hulk Hogan, for example, like every single WrestleMania,
they get the fans hyped. That's all they need to do.
What did they do this year? Did they have Hulk Hogan or anyone like that? I think they had
this year. This year was Goldberg. This year, I think Goldberg was your big guy. I don't think they had anyone. Please don't make me watch WrestleMania this year again.
Nah.
But I don't think they had anyone else, obviously.
I think, like, to replace what happened, they had knock off Johnny Depp just to make a... I think, but yeah, well, basically the situation can change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But, you know, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter.
The W Factor, that's it really.
The W Factor, you'll find us. We're the W Factor on Facebook. We're the W_Factor podcast on Twitter, at the W_Factor. You'll be able to find us there. You'll be able to find us on YouTube. You'll be able to find us on Twitch. You know, you're with us just now. We've got some more messages there from Congosaurus. I'm too much of a flip-flop and fly fan to ever beat MJF. Well, you don't know, man. Flip-flop and fly seems to be the the most popular way of wrestling in this current age. You know, everyone likes a wee bit of the flippy bullshit. Not the old school guys. Kevin Nash hates it. Kevin Nash doesn't like it. Gronk, which was terrible. That's right. Gronk was the footballer from this year's WrestleMania who won the 24/7 title and held it for maybe 10 minutes before R-Truth won it back. I believe R-Truth won it back.
He's got his own action figure.
Well, I think on that depressing note where Gronk was the WrestleMania personality for this year, I think we're going to wrap it up. We did mention at the beginning that because it's not a pay-per-view, it's going to be shorter. Nah, we've maybe cut it short by 5 minutes at the most, maybe less.
I think,
you know that we only discussed what we felt needed to be discussed. Impact and NXT.
Not as much,
yeah.
But we still
short segments.
We still looked at what we wanted to, and we enjoyed it.
Yeah, you know. And you know, if you only watch specific shows, you know, you only watch AEW or you only watch WWE. Hopefully, that listening to our show, our podcast, that you do still get the information from the other shows that are out there, and you know, maybe much like me, you know, you guys will tune in to Impact because they did quite well at Slammiversary and they seem interesting. I'm basically starting afresh. Yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you for tuning in. Whoever will.
As always.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.